Hello, lettering friends, and Happy New Year. As I film this, it is New Year's Eve, and I just have to say there are fireworks going on everywhere around me. I hope it doesn't disturb this video too much. I feel like it probably won't, but we'll see. So we are going to do our very first lettering challenge of the year. And I'm sure most of you know that the lettering planner actually does not start on January 1st. It actually started this past Monday on December 28th. But as a lettering challenge goes, I just don't think it sounds all that fun to start anything on the 28th. It just makes sense to start it fresh on the 1st. If you are ready to just dive in and get going, then stay tuned. We are going to get started on our movie lettering challenge, and we're starting with When Harry Met Sally. I have my paper pulled off of the disc. I just feel like it's a lot easier to get full range of the paper when it's not on the disc. And that's what makes Happy Planner so great, is that you have that choice. Let's go ahead and get started. The first sort of letter or word or phrase of this year, this movie, everything, is the new year. And if you love When Harry Met Sally, like I do, you'll know that a large part of that movie actually revolves around the new year. They attend a couple of New Year's parties together. They dance. That's kind of really the first time that they fall in love. That's going to be our first word. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, N's are not my favorite letter. I have kind of looked up a lot of different styles, and I'm going to show you one that I like. I'm going to do a thin stroke up. We're going to loop it around, do a little thick stroke down. That is not super pretty, and we're going to loop it back around. Don't forget, when you're lettering, we're drawing letters. If you don't like how it turned out, you can go back and you can kind of color some of it in. But also keep in mind, this is practice. It's a practice journal. So if you don't like how it came out, keep practicing, because this needs work, let me tell you. All right, we're gonna do the E, W. I like to do a little loop at the end there. All right, let's do the Y. I'm gonna give this a little tail, thick downstroke, thin upstroke. Don't forget to pick up your pen. I have a tendency to do that from time to time. All right, that's my first new year. I like it. You'll see it kind of messed up on one of the connections here. I'm gonna fill that in just a little bit and see if I can't blend that together. That's actually not too bad for the first word or phrase of this challenge. Okay, I'm gonna do one more here. All right, let's do thin upstroke, loop it around, thick downstroke, thin upstroke, and do a little hook. I like that. E, we'll do thin up, thick down. Let's pick it up for the W. You'll see I picked it up twice there. Loop that around. All right, we're gonna do that Y. Do a little O for that A and draw the line. We'll do a big loopy R. And we brought that, when you do a nice loopy R, it is nice to bring that above this middle guideline here. And there you go. That's the new year. I am gonna speed this up. I'm gonna finish the remaining rows and we will move on to our next word. gonna pause here and I'm going to introduce what I am going to call the bonus row. All right, the bonus row is like a freebie. It is where you can experiment. You don't like your N? Try a new N. If you want to try a different color or a different style of pen, try it. We're gonna stick with the same pen that we've been using. And by the way, the pen that we're using today is the Tombow, and I know I'm gonna butcher this, it's the Tombow Fudenosuke. This is just a black flexible nib, kind of a marker. I highly recommend it for all newbies or really anyone who wants to basically do kind of small-ish brush lettering. There are a lot of really great brush letter pens out there, but a lot of them just really force you to write big. This one allows you to write small, and I am obsessed with it. For now, we are going to stick with this pen. I will experiment more with others, but to keep things simple to start us off, we're going to stick with this. But let's do a little bit of experimenting with some different types of fonts. All right. Let's say we don't like the N. I actually really do like the N, but let's play around with another N. All right, maybe we want to do one that has a bit of an accent or like a bit of a tail when you first started off. So we'll do a little tail, a thick downstroke, thin up, thick down. There you go. We've got a new N. Looks pretty good, actually. All right, so we're still experimenting. Let's try a different Y. Let's see, maybe for consistency, we'll start it out with a very similar tail. All right, before I go into this R, one thing I am gonna do with it, because we're not being quite as loopy with this version, we're gonna do a non-loopy R. So I'm gonna bring it up just a hair above that middle guideline, and I'm just gonna bring it back down, and we'll end it right there. I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the row like this. Friends, stay tuned, and I am gonna do day 2. Welcome to day 2 of our lettering challenge, day 2 of When Harry Met Sally. What better second word for us to do than actually go ahead and introduce the names of the main characters. For day 2, we're going to letter Harry. All right. Let's go ahead and jump in here. We are gonna do, I don't know if you remember with the new year, I like my letters to be kind of loopy. So I am going to do a very loopy H. All right, I'm gonna do my thick downstroke. I'm gonna loop it up with a thin upstroke. Loop it again. There we go. We got our H. I'm gonna do a little O for our start of our A, draw that line. We're gonna do a loopy R. We're gonna follow that up with another immediate loopy R. Gonna pick up the pen because that was a lot to handle. And we're gonna bring that around with a Y. All right, I'm gonna do one more with my loopy H, and we're going to loop, thick downstroke, cross it over with a thin upstroke, thick down again, and hook that up. We're gonna do basically an O for our A, and just simply end that with a little line there. I'm gonna follow that up, back up above that middle guideline to do my loopy R. Do it again. Pick up the pen to take a little break. Get that Y in there. All right, I am gonna go ahead and speed up the rest of this, and let's just get her finished here. Friends, that is our 3 rows of Harry, and if you remember from our New Year word, we are now ready to do a bonus. Let's do a bonus row, and let's change this up just a little bit. All right, let's kind of like our N, let's go with a type of an H that has a bit of a tail. Let's do a little tail here. A little thick up, or thin up, thick down. Let's just do a simple downstroke, and let's just connect that with kind of a loop, or not a loop, like a squiggle there. Now, another thing to know about brush lettering is you don't always have to connect the words. Again, this is like art. If you don't want to connect it, you don't have to. So let's just go ahead and not connect it, but let's finish our letters here. Since we're not going with loops, let's go with a non-loopy R. And you know what? We don't even have to do a loopy Y. There you go. All right, I found another H that I want to try. So let's do just a nice, simple, thick downstroke, just a simple straight line. Let's go ahead and immediately cross it. Let's cross it, and then we're gonna circle up, and there you go. There we have an H. Let's loop it around and finish what we did. So we've got a Harry. Since we did a bit of a loopy H, let's go back to the loopy R's. And let's do that loopy Y. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Let's do another practice. Let's do everything lowercase. So with the lowercase h, I like to start the loop of my H around the middle guideline. Let's loop that around. There we go, Harry all lowercase. Let's see. Let's do one more of that second style H that I did. Let's draw the thick single downstroke there. Let's cross it. Kind of doing a little squiggle while we go. H. Do our O for our A, draw that line. Let's do those loopy R's. One thing that I have struggled with on this word, and I think it's because I'm moving too fast, is I'm a little bit shaky on some of my letters, and you might be too. Just a couple of reminders. Number one, go slow. Don't forget that some of what you're seeing in this video is sped up, and some of what you're seeing on a lot of lettering videos is sped up. So don't let that intimidate you. And then number 2, don't forget to pick up your pen. That will help you take a rest. That will help you make sure that all of your strokes are nice and concentrated. And so I'm gonna pick up my pen. This double R thing is kind of killing my wrist. There we go. See, that already looks a lot better because I picked up my pen. All right, that's it. That is Harry. That is our second day, and stay tuned for day 3. All right, welcome to day 3 of our When Harry Met Sally lettering challenge. And day 2 was Harry, so day 3 has to be Sally. It just has to be. Let's jump in. There are multiple ways that you can do an uppercase S. I like to do mine a little bit more old-fashioned, a little bit more traditional to probably what you would see in a cursive. And let's just go ahead and jump in. So I'm gonna do the thin upstroke, thick down. Let's loop that around. Let's do our O's to start our A. Now to do the L, I like to bring that up near or around that middle guideline. And this is where I pick up my pen. And it's gonna look really weird at first. Just start the loop now. Bring it back around with that thick downstroke, and you're just gonna cover up that awkward looking little connected line that you did there before. All right, so I'm gonna do that again. We brought up the loop just a little less than halfway, and we're gonna loop that around again, and we're gonna cross it, and we're gonna move into our Y. There you go, Sally. All right, we're gonna repeat. Thin upstroke, thick down, let's loop that around. Do the O to do our A, just finish that off with a line. Do our L, do it again. All right, there you go. That's Sally. I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up and finish the rest of this day. Friends, that is 3 rows in, and I think maybe you know what time it is. It is bonus row time. All right, and just as a little reminder, in case after these first 3 days you're beating yourself up a little bit, I just want to point out this is not perfect. This is not good. This is why we practice. So I am not immune from this, but lettering makes me happy, and practice is just what makes it better. All right, so we're doing our bonus row, and let's see here. How do we want to change up Sally? All right, I see this different type of S with a lot of brush lettering, so let's change our S up actually quite a bit. We're gonna do a bit more of like, it's kind of like a print S, in that we're gonna sort of snake that around, but then all of a sudden we're just gonna loop it right at the very end. I'm gonna do our usual A, yeah, that turned out pretty good. All right, I'm gonna do that same S. I'm gonna change my L's a little bit. Let's go very minimal on our loopy. The S can stay kind of loopy there at the end, at the tail. Let's do our A. All right, let's go with a loopless L. Let's just do a simple, thick downstroke and hook that up. Another thick downstroke, and let's hook that up. All right, and basically the same stroke with the Y, and let's not loop that up. There we go. That's kind of cute. All right, I'm gonna alternate this. Let's go back to the loopy L's. And that loopy Y. Perfect. All right, now let's go back to our non-loopy Sally. I don't know, Sally's kind of a loopy girl. Thick downstroke, thin up, thick down. There you go. And that's day 3, and that's Sally. Let's go ahead and jump in to our final section of the week. This is in every week of the planner, and I'm gonna do this practice with you. Let's go ahead and just read and see what we have here. So we're talking about the oval stroke, which is essentially the O. The oval stroke is also the letter O and is used to create these letter forms. So it's A, B, C, D, E, G, O, P, and Q. All right, so basically what they're prompting us to do is just to do a section of literally just repeating the same letter over and over and over again. This is really the best kind of practice. And if you remember through what we've done just in this short little half week already, we've done a lot of A's, and those are O's essentially, just with a different little connector. We had the A in Harry. That's really kind of, we definitely did some E's for sure. Yeah, but we've already been doing some of this practice. Let's just kind of step through it. All right, so if you see here, we've got these little purple sort of guide arrows. The little dot is where you start, and the little arrowhead is where you end. Now, if you'll notice very carefully that the beginning of the O, it doesn't start at 12 o'clock. It doesn't even really start at 1 or 2 o'clock. That's kind of around the 3 o'clock mark. And that is gonna give you the best, most smooth way of connecting that circle so that it's not super disjointed. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. And we're gonna keep it below that middle guideline. All right, so we're gonna start roughly around that 3 o'clock mark. We're gonna start thin, go down to thick, and connect it. Ah, that didn't turn out half bad. All right, thin, thick, connect. Thin, thick, connect. All right, you might notice that these are not like perfect thick downstrokes. Again, this is art. You can go back and correct it. Look, there it is, all better. All right, thin, thick, up, thin, thick, up. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this row, and I'll speed it up just a little bit. All right, so that's one clean row. All right, let's talk about this little example with the O and the little kind of a comma almost, if you will. This is kind of a way of doing O's that I'm not a big fan of, but let's go ahead and step through a few and let's give it some practice. So we're still gonna start around our 3 o'clock mark. We're gonna do our thin up, thick down, and connect it. All right, and it was probably around that 1 or 2 o'clock mark that the little tick mark started. So we're just gonna add that right there. Let's do another one. And another one. So that is one definite way to do O's. The point of this exercise is really to kind of show you how it also factors into other letters. So I'm going to show you kind of a couple of things here, and let's start with the A. There actually may be an A later on in this notebook, but I kind of want to show you how this O is definitely very beneficial for that. So up above, we just did our simple thin, thick, thin, little O there. The side where we connected may not necessarily be perfect, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be, because when you go back through and do your downstroke, you can cover that up. And there we go. We have an A. And you'll never even know that the connection wasn't the best. I'm going to do that a couple more times here. So thin, thick, and connect, thin, thick, give that a little tail. So there we go. 3 good A's there. Now, if you actually want to talk about O's, I prefer a slightly different style of doing O's. It's a little bit less forgiving, and I think it looks kind of stylish, actually. When I do my O's, I like to start, actually, I would say probably around almost the 9 o'clock spot, not the 3 o'clock. So we're going to do a thick down, a thin up, and loop it around about halfway. And I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that a little bit smaller. Let's thick, thin, and loop it back around. There we go. So that's kind of almost more like an uppercase and a lowercase. And so around that 9 o'clock, thick, thin, loop it around. You don't even have to connect it if you don't want to. It's up to you. Thick, thin, cross it over. Thick, thin, cross it over. Cross it over. So there you go. We've practiced a couple of different types of strokes here. It's totally up to you, dealer's choice, how you want to finish this off. I am going to finish this off doing my preferred style of O, and I'm going to speed it up while I do so. There you have it. That is our weekly practice section, and those are our oval strokes or our O's. All right, we're gonna put this back on our discs. And that is going to end our shorter week 1 of When Harry Met Sally. And I hope you'll stay tuned for the additional weeks, because this is an epic movie, you guys. This is classic. It's an awesome movie, and I've got some wonderful words and phrases picked out to cover with you. If you like what you see, I hope you will like and subscribe. I'll see you soon, friends.